Okay, in our final game today, it's Prairie Central versus LeRoy. Let's meet the teams and then we'll get started.
Seth Michael Morgan, Senior.
Brendan Alexander Roseberry.
Mason Jeffrey Cordray, Jr.
Nathaniel David Phipps Ross, Jr.
Kyle Kenneth Martin, Jr.
Olivia Grace Bogle, Senior.
Danny Wells, Senior.
Travis Mueller, Senior.
Kyle Steininger, Senior.
Becca Elbert, Senior.
Trenton Nicholas, Freshman.
Carson Bounds, Sophomore.
Okay, what phenomenon occurs when the Earth comes into the shadow of the moon? Prairie Central, Danny.
An eclipse.
Be more specific.
Solar eclipse.
Solar eclipse is correct, yes. What famous woman painter started painting because her fingers had become too stiff for embroidering? Prairie Central, Kyle.
George O'Keefe.
Not George O'Keefe. You guys can prefer?
No answer.
Grandma Moses. Grandma Moses. What composer has two of his songs used as state songs? LeRoy Mason.
John Philip Sousa.
Not John Philip Sousa. You guys can confer.
Bernstein.
Stephen Foster. Stephen Foster. Yeah, sure. Okay. What is the name of the candy in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory that stays the same size no matter how long? LeRoy, Brendan.
The everlasting gobstopper.
Yes, no matter how long you suck on. What is a barley or other grain that is steeped, germinated, and then dried? That is a malt. A malt. What common item did Elizabeth I bring into fashion despite denunciation from some clergy? It was forks. Forks. What country did Saddam Hussein declare was the 19th province of Iraq? Prairie Central, Kyle.
Kuwait.
Kuwait is correct. Yes, good job. What's the only state with an area less than 2,000 square miles? Prairie Central, Danny.
Rhode Island.
Rhode Island is correct. What great American circus entrepreneur had been jailed for libel while he was a newspaper editor? Great American circus entrepreneur. Prairie Central, Kyle.
Barnum.
Yes, P.T. Barnum is correct. How many points does the Star of David have? Prairie Central, Becca.
6.
6 is correct. What are the two official languages of Hong Kong? Prairie Central, Travis.
Mandarin and English.
No, you guys can confer.
No answer.
Cantonese and English. The other one. What is the longest canal in the world? LeRoy, Kyle.
Suez Canal.
Not the Suez. You guys can confer.
Sure.
Panama Canal.
No, it's the Grand Canal, which is in China. In what state was the first permanent Mennonite settlement made in 1683? Prairie Central, Kyle.
Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania is correct. Microsoft Corporation was founded by Bill Gates and what other person? That was Paul Allen. Paul Allen. What Chase Show's final episode in January of 1967 was one of the top-rated TV shows of all time? It later was made into a movie starring Harrison Ford. LeRoy, Kyle.
MASH.
Not MASH. You guys can confirm?
Anything. I can't think of anything. No answer.
The Fugitive. What grassroots conservative political organization was founded by religious broadcaster Pat Robertson? That was the Christian Coalition. The city of Bratislava is the capital city of what country? Bratislava. Slovakia. What foul-mouthed New York call-in host became the shock jock of the 1990s? LeRoy, Brendan.
Sam Kennison.
Not Sam Kennison. You guys can confirm?
Howard Stern.
Howard Stern is correct. Good job. What two fictional boy detectives lives in the town of Bayport? Prairie Central Becca.
The Hardy Boys?
The Hardy Boys is correct. Who turned 27,000 acres of Florida swampland into one of the largest Prairie Central Kyle?
Walt Disney.
Walt Disney, yes. Largest entertainment complexes in the world. Name 4 universities that play in the Ivy League Athletic Conference. Prairie Central Becca.
Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Brown.
Yes, also Columbia, Pennsylvania, Cornell, and Dartmouth. What HBO series starred Lena Dunham? Prairie Central Becca.
Girls?
Girls is correct. How long does a nanosecond last? Prairie Central Danny.
1/1000th of a second.
No. You guys prefer?
1/10,000th of a second.
1/10000000th of a second. 1/10000000th of a second. Manhattan's Yeshiva University is the oldest and largest school run by what religious group? Prairie Central Danny.
Protestants.
Not Protestants.
Judaism.
Yes. Okay, it's time for this round's video question, which is for LeRoy.
This video question is brought to you by the Aviation Department. When flying an airplane, what is the yoke used for?
Changing.
Changing altitude.
The yoke of an airplane is located in the cockpit in front of the pilot and is used to steer the aircraft.
Okay, let's finish up our first round. In the Tommy Two-Tone song, whose number is 867? LeRoy Mason.
Jenny.
Jenny is right, 8675309. What western state has the highest percentage of Asians in the U.S.? Prairie Central Danny.
California.
Not California, you guys can confirm.
I would guess that. Washington?
Hawaii. Wow. What northern Rust Belt state leads the nation in the growing of Christmas trees? LeRoy Brennan.
North Dakota.
Not North Dakota, you guys can confirm.
Wyoming.
Michigan. What is a textile fabric made of regenerated cellulose? Prairie Central Kyle.
Polyester.
Not polyester, you guys can confirm.
Nylon.
Rayon. Which two animals are said to represent optimists and pessimists in the stock market? Prairie Central Becca.
The bear and the bull?
The bear and the bull is correct. Computer keyboards are arranged the same way typewriter keys were. Why were typewriter keys originally arranged that way? Prairie Central Travis.
As a challenge.
Not as a challenge. No, you guys can confirm?
They broke them. They were breaking them too often.
Yeah, I think we'll accept that. Yeah, it's so the machine didn't lock up. Yeah, for fast typists, it can go too fast. In what world city was Archduke Ferdinand assassinated? Prairie Central Kyle.
Sarajevo.
Sarajevo is correct. How many lines comprise an English Shakespearean sonnet? Prairie Central Danny.
I don't know. No answers.
Nancy, you guys can confirm?
14.
14 is correct, yes. Reds, a 1981 movie, told the story of an American communist, John Reed, the only American buried in the Kremlin. Who served as both star and director of this movie? That was Warren Beatty. Draculin, a protein that prevents blood clotting, is found in the spit of what animal? LeRoy Seth.
Vampire bat?
Vampire bat is correct. What Ivy League college is in Ithaca, New York? Prairie Central Becca.
Cornell.
Cornell is correct. Who voiced the animated characters Sully, Big Daddy, LaBouffe, and Pacha? Prairie Central Kyle.
John Goodman.
John Goodman is correct. Who is facing away from Jesus in Leonardo da Vinci's The Last Supper? LeRoy, Brendan.
Judas Iscariot.
Yes. What must a baseball pitcher do to throw an immaculate inning? Prairie Central, Danny.
Strike out all 3 batters
Can you be more specific?
and 3 pitches each.
Yes, so nine pitches, 3 batters, yes. What bird receives a presidential pardon each fall? LeRoy, Seth.
Turkey.
Turkey is correct. What country receives 26% of all Saudi imports? Prairie Central, Kyle.
The United States.
United States, yes. How many carats is pure unalloyed gold? LeRoy, Brendan.
24.
24 is correct. What is the term for food that is prepared according to Jewish dietary laws? LeRoy, Brendan.
Kosher.
Kosher is correct, yes. What document did President Andrew Johnson want a copy of placed under his head upon his burial? LeRoy, Brendan.
Declaration of Independence.
No. You guys can refer?
Constitution.
Constitution is correct, yes. What's the lowest body of water on Earth? LeRoy, Seth.
Dead Sea.
Dead Sea is correct. What 1966 novel is a best-selling piece of work by Jacqueline Suzanne? It's Valley of the Dolls. Valley of the Dolls. What would you generally call whipped eggs, oil, lemon juice, and vinegar? LeRoy, Brendan.
Deviled eggs.
Not deviled eggs. You guys can confer?
Squares with it.
Eggs Benedict.
No, mayonnaise. American Hot Wax, a movie from 1978, was about the great disc jockey of early rock and roll who coined the term rock and roll. What was his name? Prairie Central, Kyle.
Dick Clark.
Not Dick Clark.
No answer.
Alan Freed. Okay, that's the end of our first round. We'll tally up our scores and be back with our lightning round right after this.
I took Trig Free Calc, Chem 2, and Calculus for dual credit. You can do it too.
Colleges recognize that dual credit classes are challenging and will consider this in your application.
Okay, we've got a good battle brewing in bracket 2 championship. LeRoy 130, Prairie Central 180. Let's get to our lightning round. How many ink blots are on a standard Rorschach test? Answer is 10. In what year did Abraham Lincoln die? Prairie Central, Kyle.
1865.
1865 is correct. What website was started by Will Ferrell and Adam McKay? It's Funny or Die. What is the name of the narrator of The Great Gatsby? Prairie Central, Becca.
Nick Carraway.
Nick Carraway is correct. Which religion with more than 2 billion members is the largest in the world? Prairie Central, Danny.
Hinduism.
Not Hinduism, Christianity. The Blues in Beale Street are associated with what major Tennessee city? Prairie Central, Kyle.
Memphis.
Memphis is correct. What was the world's first nuclear submarine? Prairie Central, Kyle.
USS Nautilus.
Nautilus is correct. Good job. Who was the first person to break the sound barrier in 1947? It was Chuck Yeager. What is the name of the alphabet used with the Russian language? LeRoy Mason.
Cyrillic.
Cyrillic is correct. Which southern state is the largest state east of the Mississippi River? LeRoy, Brendan.
Georgia.
Georgia is correct. If you scurry to Scurry County, what western state are you in? You're in Texas, apparently. Which of these is not a German sausage? Beckwurst, Bratwurst, Frankfurter, or Knockwurst?
Breckwurst.
LeRoy Mason.
Breckwurst.
Yes, correct. What notable highway connects Key West, Florida, and Fort Kent, Maine? That is US Highway 1. US Highway 1. What is the name of the rooster on a box of cornflakes? His name is Cornelius. Get it? Who was the first human? What was the first human organ to be successfully transplanted? That was the kidney. The construction of what famous Paris monument began on January 28, 1887? LeRoy, Nathaniel.
Eiffel Tower.
Eiffel Tower is correct. How many pawns are on the board at the beginning of a chess game? Prairie Central, Travis.
16.
16 is correct. What major East Coast city has a cherry blossom festival every year? Prairie Central, Kyle.
Washington, D.C.
Washington, D.C. is correct. Okay, that's the end of our lightning round. We'll tally up our scores and finish up the game right after this.
I recommend taking a dual credit class while you're still in high school because it counts for both high school and college credit. It's a great experience.
Okay, we've got a good game going. Let's see if LeRoy can make up a little ground in our final round. Who was the Russian leader from the mid-20s until his death in 1953? Prairie Central, Travis.
Stalin.
Stalin, just Stalin. What notable female scientist was the first person to ever win a second Nobel Prize? LeRoy, Seth.
Mary Curie.
Yes. What infamous act was committed by Gavrilo Princip? LeRoy, Nathaniel.
The assassination of.
Sorry, you guys can confirm?
Assassination of President Garfield.
No, the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. What is the geographical term for a narrow strip of land connecting two larger areas? Prairie Central, Kyle.
Inlet.
Not inlet, no. You guys can confirm?
Straight.
No, an isthmus. Who wrote Franny and Zoe, Raise High the Roof Beam Carpenters, and Catcher in the Rye? Prairie Central, Becca.
Salinger.
Yes, J.D. Salinger. What is the tar-like substance babies excrete soon after birth? Meconium. What name is given to the dikes that keep the Mississippi from flooding the streets of New Orleans? Prairie Central, Kyle.
Levees.
Levees is correct. What enormous state college in the South has a much visited rural life museum? That's Louisiana State University, LSU. What 19th century declaration is considered the defining moment of U.S. foreign policy? Prairie Central, Kyle.
Monroe Doctrine.
Monroe Doctrine is correct. What color hair naturally graces the heads of 1 in 16 Americans? LeRoy, Nathaniel.
Red.
Red is correct. What prickly mammal is also known as a quill pig? LeRoy, Nathaniel.
Porcupine.
Porcupine is correct. How old do you have to be to vote in Singapore? LeRoy, Nathaniel.
16.
Not 16. You guys can confirm?
15.
15.
No, it's 21.
Dang.
Which computer viruses named after an invertebrate multiply on their own? Worms. Aristophanes introduced what punctuation mark to indicate ambiguity? LeRoy, Nathaniel.
Question mark?
Not the question mark, no.
Apostrophe.
The asterisks. Bert and Ernie are famous characters on Sesame Street. What is Ernie's favorite Teb toy? LeRoy, Brendan.
The rubber duck.
Yes, rubber ducky. Yes. We're talking about it. According to legend, who fired the arrow that hit Achilles in the heel? LeRoy, Brendan.
Paris.
Paris is correct, yes. What are Francis Crick and James D. Watson known for? Leroy Mason.
Modeling the DNA.
Yes. The world's largest garage sale is held each October in Warrensburg. What northeastern state is Warrensburg in? Prairie Central, Danny.
Pennsylvania.
Not Pennsylvania.
Massachusetts.
New York. Who were Charlie, Bill, Ron, Keith, and Mick better known as? Prairie Central, Kyle.
Rolling Stones.
The Rolling Stones is correct, yes. What famous fashion designer gave birth to Anderson Cooper? His mom was Gloria Vanderbilt. What was the U.S. policy that restricted military personnel from discriminating against closeted gay or bisexual service members? Prairie Central, Kyle.
Don't ask, don't tell.
Don't ask, don't tell is correct, yes. What famed poet of the Midwest collected folk songs in the American Song Bag? Prairie Central, Kyle.
Foster.
Not Foster, yes, confirm.
That's a good guess.
Need an answer?
Hemingway.
No, Carl Sandburg. Whose migraine headache vanished after he read Robert E. Lee's Note of Surrender? Prairie Central, Kyle.
U.S. Grant.
Yes, this is his grant. What beloved cowboy comedian was portrayed by his own son in the 1950s biopic? Beloved cowboy comedian. It was Will Rogers. What part of the D.C. Capitol has statues of each state's favorite sons and daughters? Prairie Central, Kyle.
Capitol Building.
Not Capitol Building, no.
Historical district.
No, the Statuary Hall is what it's called. Statuary Hall. Okay, it's time for this round's video question, which goes to Prairie Central.
This video question is brought to you by the Aviation Department. Aviators use the military alphabet to communicate. Using this alphabet, what 4 words would spell out the word what?
Need an answer?
Don't know.
The 4 words that would spell out the word what in the military alphabet are whiskey, hotel, alpha, tango.
Okay, let's finish up our game. This French author/philosopher wrote such classics as The Stranger, The Plague, and The Fall. What was his name? Prairie Central, Travis.
Rousseau.
No, you guys confirm?
No answer.
Albert Camus. Which author wrote Terms of Endearment, The Last Picture Show, and Lonesome Dove? It was Larry McMurtry. Mosaic, an early web browser, was developed where? It was developed here in Champaign-Urbana, the NCSA. Which program was formed by President John F. Kennedy to assist third world countries in their development? Prairie Central, Becca.
Peace Corps.
Peace Corps, yes, in their development efforts. Cartoonist Robert Ripley became popular with what syndicated feature? Robert Ripley. Leroy, Brendan.
Ripley's Believe It or Not.
Yes, Ripley's Believe It or Not. Name the Germanic leader who oversaw the unification of Germany in 1871. Leroy, Brendan.
Otto von Bismarck.
Yes, Otto von Bismarck. What mathematical symbol did math whiz Ferdinand von Lindemann determine to be a transcendental number in 1882? Leroy, Nathaniel.
Pi.
Pi is correct, yes. What region annexed by China in 1951 is referred to as Roof of the World? Leroy, Nathaniel.
Tibet.
Tibet is correct, yes. What popular wedding song did Irving Berlin compose to win the hand of Ellen McRae? Leroy, Nathaniel.
Here Comes the Bride.
Not Here Comes the Bride, no. You guys can confirm? Any answer?
In the mood.
No, it's called Always. Always. What Japanese automaker built a plant in Smyrna, Tennessee? SMY, LeRoy, Brendan.
Mitsubishi.
Not Mitsubishi. You guys can refer?
Honda, Toyota, Toyota.
Toyota.
It was Nissan.
It was none of the ones.
What cousin to the camel is used in parts of the U.S. to protect sheep from coyotes and stray dogs? This is the llama. The llama. In February 1909, what great Apache leader died at Fort Sill, Oklahoma? That was Geronimo. Who earned the nickname Angel of the Battlefield in 1864? Prairie Central Beckett.
Clara Barton.
Clara Barton is correct. Halley's Comet last appeared over the Earth in 1986. When is it due back? 2061. And what popular Wyoming resort would you visit? Dirty Jack's Wild West Theater and Opera House. It is also known for its skiing. LeRoy, Brennan.
The slopes.
No. You guys can go first?
Anything at all.
You answer?
No answer.
Jackson Hole, Wyoming. Jackson Hole. What Washington town is named for the hero of a Shakespearean tragedy? Othello, Washington. What is the most populated city in the Bay Area of California? LeRoy, Nathaniel.
San Francisco.
Not San Francisco. You guys can refer?
Oakland.
No, San Jose. Which German automobile company has a prancing horse on its emblem? LeRoy, Nathaniel.
Ferrari.
Not Ferrari. No, you guys can refer?
Isn't it Lamborghini?
That's not German.
I was gonna say Volkswagen.
You can answer?
Mercedes-Benz.
No, Porsche. If you're reading a newspaper with the distinctive title Times Picayune, where is this paper from? It's from New Orleans. Fletcher Christian and other British sailors were the first white settlers on what Pacific island? LeRoy, Seth.
New Zealand.
No, you guys can go first.
Guam.
No, Pitcairn Island. What scenic parkway connects the Shenandoah and Great Smoky Mountain National Parks? That is the Blue Ridge Parkway. What animals, including little necks, cherry stones, and quahogs? What are animals that include little necks, cherry stones, and quahogs? LeRoy, Brennan.
Birds.
Not birds. No.
Crabs.
Not crabs, clams. Okay, that's the end of our game. We'll tally up our score and tell you who's moving on to our finals right after this. Okay, a really good game in our final today. LeRoy 270, Prairie Central 320. So that means Prairie Central moves on. Thanks for joining us on Parkland Challenge 2018.